In 1955, America was booming with gleaming cars, sunlight bouncing off chrome, and daring lines defining automotive design. It was an era when Cadillac, Buick, and Chrysler dominated the streets, while General Motors and Ford constantly unveiled models that captured the public's imagination. In the middle of this battle, Studebaker, a small company from South Bend, Indiana, introduced something truly different: the 1955 Studebaker Speedster. This was not just another luxury coupe. It was Studebaker's bold statement that they could stand toe-to-toe with Detroit's giants. With distinctive styling, a lavish interior, and the evocative name Speedster, Studebaker aimed to tap into America's craving for excitement and innovation. But what made this car so unique that despite being produced for just 1 year, it still carved a lasting place in American automotive history? While Cadillac, Buick, and Chrysler basked in the glory of massive sales numbers, Studebaker faced a harsh reality. They were the small player in a giant's game. With lower production, limited budgets, and a dealer network far weaker than the Big Three, every Studebaker sold was a hard-fought victory against the odds. Studebaker couldn't win through volume, so they took another path, appealing directly to customers who wanted to stand out. They understood that a segment of Americans didn't want to follow the crowd with mainstream Chevrolets or Fords. The Speedster was designed as the perfect answer for those buyers. Built on the President's Starliner coupe platform, the Speedster was never meant to be ordinary. It was more like a first-class ticket. Studebaker laid on the table a bold move to prove that the small South Bend company could still build a luxury automobile with style, daring, and distinction. From the very first glance, the Studebaker Speedster made it clear it had no intention of blending in. Built on the President's Starliner hardtop coupe platform, it carried a look that demanded attention. The front end was dominated by a massive chrome grille stretching across the width, gleaming brilliantly in the sun. Chrome accents continued around the headlights, bumpers, and body moldings, turning the Speedster into a true showpiece on the street. On the hood, the Studebaker emblem stood proudly, signaling that this was the company's most prestigious offering. The pillarless two-door coupe design added elegance and sportiness. With all windows rolled down, the Speedster formed a seamless line from roof to body, enhancing its sleek proportions. Distinctive touches, such as chrome strips on the hood, faux vents, and special Speedster badges, set it apart from regular Presidents. Interestingly, while some conservative buyers found the styling too flashy, others loved its boldness. And to ensure that this look wasn't just for show, Studebaker made sure the Speedster carried a heart strong enough to back up its bold image. Under the hood sat the President V8, displacing 259 cubic inches. It wasn't a figure that would terrify rivals, but it proved Studebaker's determination to compete seriously. The base engine delivered 185 horsepower, while most Speedsters were upgraded with a 4-barrel carburetor, raising output to nearly 195 horsepower, a respectable figure for a luxury coupe from an independent automaker. Buyers could choose between a 3-speed manual, an optional overdrive for more relaxed highway cruising, or the smooth-shifting Flight-O-Matic automatic. Paired with a sturdy suspension, the Speedster felt stable and composed both on the brand-new interstate highways and winding suburban roads. Though it couldn't reach the 300 horsepower mark of the Chrysler 300, the legendary letter car that launched America's muscle era, the Speedster offered something different: balance. Its V8 didn't roar violently, but rumbled warmly and steadily, giving the impression of refinement rather than raw aggression. The car wasn't about overwhelming speed, but it always had enough power for confident overtaking and highway driving. This blend made the Speedster more of an experience than a performance benchmark. It appealed to those who wanted a beautiful car, powerful enough to signal prestige, yet still graceful in the way it drove. And that same sense of refinement was carried into the cabin. Open the door, and the driver was greeted by bold, two-tone leather upholstery. This was not a safe choice like other brands might offer, but a declaration that the Speedster was meant to be different. The dashboard followed an aviation-inspired theme with a full set of gauges: speedometer, oil pressure, ammeter, details rarely seen in coupes of the era. But Studebaker went beyond style. The Speedster also delivered amenities considered luxurious in the 1950s: power steering for easier handling, power brakes for added safety, a push-button radio for enjoying music on the road, and even optional air conditioning, a feature reserved for only the most expensive cars at the time. All of this turns the Speedster into a mobile living room, where every ride is not just about transportation, but also about experiencing comfort and style. However, that very luxury drove the price of the Studebaker Speedster higher, making many buyers hesitate when compared to the familiar choices from the Big Three. For the same money, one could buy a Cadillac, a brand already synonymous with success, or a Chrysler 300 with far greater horsepower. This was the first barrier that prevented the Speedster from finding its place. Studebaker knew this, and from the beginning, they never expected the Speedster to be a volume seller. It was conceived as a show car you could buy, its primary purpose to attract attention in showrooms and steer customers toward more practical President and Commander models. As a result, production stopped at only 2,215 units in 1955, a tiny number compared to the hundreds of thousands produced by the Big Three. But the Speedster's struggles weren't just about price or production. The mid-1950s American car market was shifting rapidly. Buyers were becoming fascinated with raw horsepower and high speed, something Chrysler captured perfectly with its 300, launched the very same year. The Chrysler 300 impressed not only with its 300 horsepower HEMI V8, but also with NASCAR victories that cemented its reputation. Next to the Speedster, the contrast was stark. The Chrysler was raw power, the Studebaker was refinement and style. Meanwhile, Buick's Century and Oldsmobile's 98 leaned into other strengths. The Century was pitched as a family performance car, balancing quick acceleration with practicality. The Oldsmobile 98 emphasized space and comfort, a less extravagant Cadillac, but safer than taking a chance on a boutique Studebaker experiment. And Cadillac itself hardly needed to try. Its reputation alone carried enough weight, and few buyers were willing to gamble on a Studebaker when Cadillac offered guaranteed prestige. In this competitive landscape, the Speedster was stuck in the middle. It wasn't powerful enough to match Chrysler, not practical enough to rival Buick or Oldsmobile, and had no hope of surpassing Cadillac's aura. That in-between status sealed its short life. Yet ironically, that brevity is what made the Speedster unique. A car that lived for only a single year etched itself deeply into the memory of collectors and enthusiasts. It never reached Cadillac's prestige or Chrysler's power, but it left behind something else: the mark of a small company daring to challenge giants. And it was this very contrast that the press of the time eagerly pointed out, often with surprising candor. Some writers praised the Speedster's elegant styling, prominent chrome grille, and sleek pillarless coupe design. They felt Studebaker had injected fresh energy into a market crowded with mainstream sedans. Yet others criticized the car as being too showy, especially pointing to the flamboyant two-tone interior schemes that many found garish. Public reaction was equally divided. Some buyers loved the individuality and were willing to pay for something that didn't look like every Cadillac or Buick on the street. Others dismissed the Speedster as an attempt at imitation luxury, not quite worthy of standing beside the established names. Interestingly, this very controversy helped the Speedster to be remembered more vividly. It was not a sales success, but it often graced magazine covers, appeared in reviews, and sparked conversations in car clubs. For Studebaker, even without big numbers, the Speedster fulfilled its mission, forcing the industry to pay attention. Although it lasted only a single year, the Studebaker Speedster left behind a memorable legacy. It was not a sales success, nor a racing champion, but it stood as proof of an independent automaker's boldness in challenging Detroit's hierarchy. The Speedster paved the way for later Studebaker models, particularly the Hawk line, which carried forward the blend of sportiness and elegance. It also reinforced Studebaker's image as a brand of creativity and individuality, unwilling to be swallowed up in a sea of mainstream cars. For the industry, the Speedster was a reminder that value can come not from volume, but from uniqueness. In American car culture, the Speedster is often remembered as a one-year wonder, a moment when a small company created a car that demanded attention from both the press and the public. That unique status ensured it would never fade into obscurity. Collectors and enthusiasts still view the Speedster as a symbol of rebellion and pride for Studebaker. Today, the 1955 Studebaker Speedster has transcended its brief moment in history to become a prized collectible. With only 2,215 units ever built, the surviving examples are even fewer, making it a rare gem on the classic car market. The value of a Speedster depends greatly on its condition. Cars that retain their bold two-tone interiors and the signature full instrument panel tend to command higher prices, as these details embody the essence of the model. At auctions, Speedsters typically sell between $60,000 and over $120,000, depending on originality and restoration quality. Particularly rare examples, such as unusual exterior colors or those equipped with overdrive, can exceed this range. Beyond economic value, the Speedster carries emotional weight. For many collectors, it represents a time when a small company dared to step out of Detroit's shadow, daring to be different just to be remembered. Buyers don't seek the Speedster for sheer horsepower or practicality. They seek it to own a tangible piece of history. At classic car events, the Speedster often draws attention with its flashy appearance and scarcity. It is regarded as the symbol of a one-year wonder, a story every proud owner is eager to tell. In this way, the Speedster's collectible value is measured not only in dollars, but also in the memories, stories, and passion it evokes among enthusiasts. If you're a car enthusiast, imagine this. What would you do if you had the chance to own a Speedster? Keep it in your garage as a piece of art, drive it down the highway to turn every head, or showcase it at a classic car event to retell Studebaker's bold chapter? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you won't miss more legendary car stories. And if you enjoyed this video, share it with friends. Every interaction from you is a huge motivation for me to keep bringing unique and valuable content.